Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode of Speak the Truth podcast. It was a wild weekend over inside of Minnesota. And I'm going to tell you right now, I remember months ago when I told y'all that I was going to stop reporting on things overseas and I'm going to start focusing more on stuff here in the United States of America because I felt like what was taking place in America was going to get out of control. It was going to be, a gross national security concern. And after this weekend, I don't know how anybody else could disagree with me. We can go with Nick Solder being drugged down the street by a car after the lady ended up stealing his camera. And I'll talk about the hand signal that she ended up using and what that means to you guys. Then we have a church yesterday over inside of Minnesota that ended up getting raided by what appears right now to be a bunch of BLM activists that ended up blasting it out on social media. And then we got Jake Lang that ended up getting the absolute living hell kicked out of him. Now, all of this stuff took place this weekend over inside Minnesota. And I'm going to tell you right now, I do not support Jake Lang. I think the guy is a racist. And if you guys don't believe me by the end of this video, you most certainly will. All right. If you guys haven't yet, make sure that you guys are subscribed to the channel. Make sure you guys like, you follow, and you do all that stuff so you guys can track this stuff when it's breaking and coming out. First, I'm going to show you guys the type of crap that ended up going down at the church. This video of this guy right here that I'm going to be showing you is an agitator. And I showed this guy. This is the church over in Minnesota. And we're going to talk about the church. We're going to talk why they're there. Because when these videos first came out, we thought that maybe this was just people being activists for some reason or another. They've just lost their mind. They've gone to a church. Well, I'm going to show you why they were actually there, which nobody actually wanted to go out with. Yeah, this guy's a nut job. Pretty sure he's a paid agitator. I could be wrong, but that's my personal belief on it because he was over in D.C. harassing National Guard troops and he magically shows up over here. But listen.
All these comfortable white people who are living lavish, comfortable lives while children are dragged into concentration camps. You're living real life, nice lives with your lattes, doing absolutely nothing for your Latino and Somali brothers and sisters. You come here to a man wearing a suit. Is a preacher? Did Jesus wear a suit? Did Jesus profit off the words? No! Jesus would dine with immigrants. You do not touch me. You touch me again and see what happens.
Hey, you can't.
You are a fake Christian. Why are you not standing with your Somali and Latino communities? Why do I not see you out at Whipple every day protesting this attack on humanity? Where are you? You're sinners. You're pretending to be Christians. But we know you live an easy life, don't you? A very easy life while people are starving. Shame. Out now. Today we had the honor to protest with Nikema Armstrong.
Yeah, I don't care what this guy has to say. No, he's not a Christian and neither is Jake Lang. And I'll explain all of that here coming up in a little bit. But that thing got out of control. It was so out of control, as a matter of fact. You even had people like Don Lemon that were there on the scene. And that is not, by the way, First Amendment protected activity to go over to a church, interrupt a service and do that. It's actually a violation of federal law. And AG Dillon is actually looking into this right now. And they're going to be going over it. And you want to know why they were there? You'll never guess. Why would they go there? Well, maybe, just maybe it's because you ended up having members of ICE. This guy that is a director of the local field office of ICE is actually a pastor at that church. And that's specifically why they ended up targeting that church, which is pretty screwed up, if you ask me. I've got so many things I want to say about this. I don't even know where to begin. First, let's go and let's take a listen to Don Lemon because he's busy defending himself for why he would do this. And then we're going to go to the people who I think might be involved in organizing this, and I'll explain why. And I don't think it's going to be a very hard case for the Assistant Attorney General to go after these people because they're making it publicly known. Mary Dean says, "Hi, Matt. The church that was raided in St. Paul, they heard that there was an ICE agent who was a pastor." Oh, no, not an agent, a field director. Here to say Don Lemon from CNN was there. A lady that was an organizer has charges, etc. Well, I can't wait to see what lady has charges because I didn't see that.
What do you think of this? I mean, this is unacceptable. It's shameful. It's shameful to interrupt a public gathering of Christians in worship.
But there were folks who will say,
I have to take care of my flock.
okay,
my
but listen, we live in there's a constitution in the First Amendment to freedom of speech and freedom to assemble and protest.
Yeah. We're here to worship. We're here to worship Jesus because that's the hope of these cities. That's the hope of the world is Jesus Christ.
I want to be very respectful. Please don't push me, though.
We're here to worship Jesus.
Yes.
That's why we're here. Okay, that's why we're here. That's what we're about.
Don't you think Jesus would be understanding
we're about
and love these folks?
We're about spreading the love of Jesus.
But did you try to talk to them as a Christian?
No one is willing to talk.
Okay.
I have to take care of my church and my family, so I asked that you actually would also leave this building.
You don't want us to chronicle what happened?
Yeah, and by the way, I'm not sure if Don left immediately after that, but if he didn't leave and he's still there pretending to be a journalist, he's still got asked to leave. Your camera doesn't give you a right to trespass and to sit there and document. The pastor still asks you to leave, which means you got to go. And if you don't, that's trespassing. You got to get the hell off the property. Absolutely freaking nuts that he's like sitting there shoving cameras in people's faces. He's trying to play it off. You know, he's trying to come out with statements saying that apparently, you know, the AAG wants to come after me. The Assistant Attorney General wants to come after me. And it's absolutely nuts that God forbid he's there doing his First Amendment protected activities, kiss my ass. And I'm going to show you why here in just a sec. First, I want you to look at Don, and then I want you to pay attention to who he's interviewing because she might be relevant in just a sec.
This is an operation that is secret, that they invited folks out.
This is Operation Pull Up, more of a clandestine operation. We show up somewhere. They don't expect us to come there, and then we disrupt business as usual.
So right now it's kind of mayhem. We're not part of the activists, but we're here just reporting on them.
Did they explain to you why they're here?
So Don he's not part of the activists. He just got invited to come out. And I'm not sure because I don't exactly follow Don Lemon and how many like activists he ends up following around and civil rights attorneys and things like that. But I highly doubt the phone call was like, hey, Don, we've got a protest going on and I just really think that you should be there. And Don's like, dude, there's a million protests going on every single day over inside Minneapolis. Why should I go to your one in particular? Well, you never know. Something crazy might happen. I highly doubt that is how that conversation took place. But I want you to take a look at this lady because she looks like somebody else that I happened to identify here, like literally about 15 to 20 minutes ago before I ended up coming onto the stream. And I found this really interesting when I came across this post. Somebody had taken this clip. This comes from Facebook. And I just posted this up over on my X account. So you guys are welcome, by the way, to take this and spread the love of this particular post and get the word out there. Made sure to tag AAG Dylan in it. So here, I'm just going to put this in the chat real quick. And then as I put that in the chat, that is the link to what I'm about to go over. I believe, I don't know. It could be the lady speaking in that video was Georgia Fort. Now, the interesting part about this is what you're looking at is a Facebook post, and you have Nakima Levy Armstrong, and she said, friends, here is a clip of our demonstration this morning at City's Church. Nakima used to be a spokesperson, according to what I found on the internet, for BLM for 2 years between 2014 and 2016, allegedly. She's also a civil rights attorney. She also happened to tag Don Lemon. She says, thank you to all of the activists who showed up, plus independent journalists such as Georgia Fort, Don Lemon, DeWoke Farmer, Brixton Hughes, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And in the video that I can't play because I'm not logged into Facebook on this computer, but in the video that's shared by Georgia Fort, the same lady that Dawn's interviewing certainly appears to be the same lady that's in the video, and she's inside the church. So the video that Georgia Fort posted, who gets thanked in this post right here, that's up on your screen, who happens to also be a civil rights attorney, who also happens to have grassroots movement association with BLM, according to public searches, was inside the church filming. And she said the reason that that the protesters were there in the video. Put this up. It's tagged in the post. He is also the director of the field office for ICE in St. Paul. That's the same lady Don Lemon was interviewing, same lady that's got a mic shoved in her face. And she knows when she shows up there that there is a freaking ICE director that's over on it. And this is public information. I ended up sharing this not too long ago. That the guy that works there, this is the church's website. All right. Church is called City's Church. Dave Easterwood is listed as a pastor at the church on their website. I pulled it this morning. And here you have the exact same man in a press conference with Kirsty Noem, acting field office director of St. Paul. Acting field office director. Those freaking terrorists decided it would be a good idea to show up to that church, violate the SAFE Act, not leave the premises when they were told, and run under the guise of First Amendment, which is not absolute. None of your constitutional rights are absolute. This is why they showed up there. And that reporter that thanked Don Lemon, that Dom interviewed, from Don's video, where he interviewed her beforehand, when she was in the church, she clearly stated while they were there, clearly, why the activists were there. And so, in my opinion, everything I'm about to play by Don, pretending like he doesn't know what the hell was going on, he's full of it. He's absolutely full of it. Not a snowball's chance in hell. And I'm not the only one who doesn't believe him, by the way. J.R. Huff says, that's rich. It's time for judgment to begin, and it will begin in the house of God. There is only one judge in the house of God. His name is Jesus. If they knew him, they wouldn't show up. Bingo. Rune Lady says, Matt, thank you for your coverage of these events. I make every effort to tune in when you are live. Well, thank you very much, Rune Lady. I appreciate it. I'm doing my absolute best to cover this madness. If you guys didn't know, I'm taking Sundays off. I came out 2 weeks ago and I've said, listen, from now on Sunday, I'm not working. I don't care if a freaking nuclear bomb goes off. That is the day of rest that God has set aside. And I am taking that day for worship. I'm taking that day for family. I'm taking that day for everything else. 6 other days a week, you guys get me. That's the day I'm taking off. Otherwise, you guys have seen me yesterday talking about this. Viper says the only thing comparable to this is the right protested in the George Floyd Square. Maybe then the left would understand our anger. 11th Airborne now. Yeah, which that's a reference to those of you who don't know that the 11th Airborne out of Alaska, so U.S. Army active duty airborne troops allegedly have received their warrant to deploy to go down into Minnesota. Thank God for that, because this is getting out of control. And I haven't even began to show you all of the clips of the madness over this weekend, but you're about to see a lot of them. Orderly chaos. Imagine if they did that the other way around. Well, that's what I said this morning. I said, imagine if this was a mosque. Imagine if they had showed up to a mosque and did that. Just imagine. Imagine if this was a bunch of radical white conservatives that showed up to a mosque and started demanding all of the crap they did. Just imagine. They would be in an absolute uproar. Smokey says, I feel like that's illegal, to be honest, or should be, but what do I know? Well, you're not wrong when you start talking about it being illegal, man. You're not. Here's AAG Dillon. House of Worship is not a public forum for your protests. Assistant Attorney General. And by the way, Pam Bondi has also came out. They're going to be going off and investigating all of these people. A house of worship is not a public forum for your protest. It is a space protected from exactly such acts by federal criminal and civil laws. Nor does the First Amendment protect your pseudo-journalism of disrupting a prayer service. You are on notice. Who do you think she's talking to? I think, number one, she's talking to Don Lemon. And I really hope she notices that other journalists that happen to know all the background facts for why they're there. And I want you to think about this. They're clearly violating the law. What would you think if a criminal called up ABC News and said, hey, I'm going to rob a bank tomorrow. Would you like to join me as a journalist? And then ABC News ran around and documented the entire bank robbery along with them driving away. Do you think maybe ABC News might be in a little bit of trouble for doing that? Now I want you to take this to like the next level. Let's talk about terrorism. What if some ISIS fighter was like, hey, I'm going to go do some wild stuff tomorrow. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but I'm going to go do some wild stuff tomorrow. Would you like to follow along? You'll figure it out along the way. And they're like, sure. And they watch the guy strap a bomb on his chest and go running down the street right into the middle of a crowd of people. And they're like, I'm just here documenting. And they walk up to people and go, what do you think? Do you think the guy had a right to blow himself up? You're a jerk if you're doing that. I don't think I'm the only one that has that opinion at all. I honestly don't. I'm pretty sure other people tend to agree with me. Don Lemon, though, not Don. He's pretty upset about it.
MAGA administration and the fake news MAGAs are losing their mind over something that's not even true. So let me just make it clear, because this assistant attorney general, I don't know, what's her name? Something Hammett, Gillen or whatever. So I had no affiliation to that organization. I didn't even know they were going to this church until we followed them there. We were there chronicling protests. Once the protests started in the church, we did an act of journalism, which was report on it and talk to the people who were involved, which included the pastor, members of the church, and members of the organization.
The pastor that told you to leave? Did you leave afterwards, Don? Serious question.
That's it. It's called journalism. First Amendment, all that stuff. For all of you people who believe in the First Amendment, absolutist, there you go. So why don't you talk to the actual person who is in charge of the organization and whose idea it was to have the protests at the church before you start blaming me for stuff for which you have no idea. Thank you for your attention to this matter.
Don is a raging pile of trash as far as I'm concerned, and so are the ladies that organized it. So is the lady that showed up and pretended that she was a journalist. I mean, it's just absolutely nuts. This guy right here, by the way, remember the one in the very first video that I showed you that was like running around screaming, "You're not Christians, you're not Christians." He was arrested on, I think it was Saturday, for being an idiot.
Why are you betraying the Constitution? Remember the Constitution of the people. No, my fucking arm.
And that's basically the entire video of them shoving him in the car. But, you know, there's my favorite part is his face just screaming, "Ah, ah." This is the problem. We're arresting these people and immediately turning them back over on the streets. And then what do? Turn around and commit another crime. Colby McCurdy, if that man came to my church, he would quickly be confronted with God's truth very quickly. Sanitized for YouTube censorship. Nailed it. Patrick Loudon, have you ever seen Tommy G's channel? He follows ridiculous stuff like that, but doesn't get in any trouble either. No, I haven't, but now you're going to give me another moron to look into. So thank you for that. I really appreciate it. I saw some of you guys saying, what about all of the other felonies that were committed over the weekend? Don't worry, I'm getting there. We have a full hour plus, because I'm going until this thing runs dry this morning. So I've got plenty of time to go over all that stuff with you. Don't you worry about it. I'm going to be going over the felonies. I'm going to be going over the stupid crap that's actually out there. Here's my last thing about Don. You want to talk about dishonest journalism? If you can guess why before I end up saying it by the end of this video, congrats.
One administration caused a great deal of chaos and havoc and danger for American citizens, and another is trying to correct that.
Do you believe that? Why honestly,
Okay.
let me talk to you
Listen,
just on the
you're not
facts.
a journalist.
Yes, I am. I want to give you the facts.
No.
Did you know that undocumented people and immigrants commit far less crime than American citizens?
We're done here.
Do you know that undocumented people commit far less crime than American citizens? Wrong. Illegal aliens, 100% of them commit a crime when they enter the country illegally. Don, 100%, not 80, not 75, 100% of your undocumented illegal aliens commit a crime. 100% of Americans don't commit crimes, you jerk. What the heck is wrong with that dude, man? You can't be serious. You just can't be serious. And then when we get up, by the way, and we start talking about, I don't know, let's say Minnesota's A.G. Ellison, before we get into the next segment of the show where Jake Lang's getting his butt kicked and we go over that whole thing where he ended up holding his protest, whatever he wanted, public demonstration of burning a Quran, and he ended up having mass amounts of freaking trauma caused to him. We're going to go over that in just a sec. But you want to know why people act this way over in the great state of Minnesota? Here's their attorney general.
People should have every reason to be hopeful and optimistic. We are standing up under the worst ugly they can throw our way. Yeah. We are out here. We're not daunted. We're not afraid. We're pursuing our legal interests. We have independent journalists like you helping us to tell the story. And so there's every reason for people to be upbeat and positive. We're going to show the country what it means to stand up for true democracy, which our country has never truly seen.
Right.
But we're advancing ourselves in that direction. It's really more of a pursuit than an end goal. But this is what something we're going to go through. But I just say to people, and my mother used to say this, be not overwhelmed by evil, but overcome evil with good. Yeah. And that's what we got to do. Put out that good, put out that love, put out that courage, and look at Renee Good as an example. This woman lost her life trying to be vigilant on behalf of the most vulnerable members of our community.
Yeah.
Vigilant. Vigilant. Not obstructing justice, vigilant on the most vulnerable members of our community, i.e. illegal aliens. This is the Attorney General for Minnesota. That's why these idiots think they can do what they do. And then you got smug reporters like freaking Don Lemon over here. They're like, oh, yeah, yep, no, peaceful. Yeah, no, we need to be peaceful. And then he runs around inside of a church, shoving a microphone in a pastor's face while his congregation is getting harassed by a bunch of freaking thugs.
And I think that is beautiful. And so we're standing where she lost her life just a short while ago. And
as we say in this country, right, we are in pursuit of a more perfect union.
A more perfect union.
A more perfect union. Yeah, that's what we're actually in pursuit of. And it doesn't involve you retards. Easy Shifty coming in, gifting I Speak the Truth membership. Appreciate you, brother. Zenith, don't. Claiming your First Amendment rights while stomping on others' First Amendment rights is despicable. It's also illegal. Don L is approaching Keith Olbermann craziness. Oh, he's crazy. At this point, like, he's sitting there trying to take the high road because he can speak calm and he can speak eloquently, regardless that the crap coming out of his mouth is exactly that, crap. But he thinks that as long as he speaks the way he does, people, I don't know, are going to listen to him. All the retards are most definitely going to listen to him. This moron, hold on, where'd he go? This guy is another main cause of the problem. This guy. And DHS and ICE, they're not taking this crap right now. I've got videos for you of them. Like they just started arresting people that are following them around. The actual people that are obstructing justice, they're blasting out their locations, doing that stuff. Now they're going around rounding them up. I almost didn't want to say anything on this podcast because I want those idiots to get arrested. I don't want to give them a warning. But at the same time, it's hilarious, and I can't wait to show you a bunch of their arrest videos later. Photo Shaman coming in, gifting us Speak the Truth membership. Let's listen to why the police chief is half the dang problem in the city of Minneapolis.
Administration officials are adamant that this action that they're undertaking in Minneapolis right now is making this city safer.
Targeted, precise, pre-planned operations on violent offenders. That is a good thing. But I'm concerned that people in the administration don't actually understand the reality of what's happening on the street.
Chief O'Hara told us the city's 911 system is overwhelmed by complaints about immigration enforcement.
What are you seeing?
Seeing multiple calls of people who have been subjected to tear gas, pepper spray.
Oh, no, not that. Not that at all. How come you don't talk about the multiple reports that you get from the feds telling you how many times they've been assaulted? How come you don't talk about the amount of weapons that have been stolen out of the back of vehicles? How about you don't talk about the freaking mortar fireworks that were being thrown at DHS agents over the weekend? You don't want to talk about that stuff because it doesn't fit your agenda. And it's these radical idiots that are actually under watch now. And they're looking at these people for inciting. I kid you not. The federal government, from what I heard, is looking at them. They're looking at Tim Walz. They're looking at freaking Jacob Fry. They're looking at all these morons for inciting. And I hope they get them. I really do. I hope they end up developing their probable cause and going after them as they see fit. Because busting into churches, scaring the hell out of kids, which they did, by the way, screaming obscenities in the middle of church isn't exactly the most Christian thing either, and it's a massive civil rights violation and a massive violation of federal law. And pretending that you're a journalist that's just there independently covering it, when it certainly seems like the other journalist there knows what's going on. So Don's just walking around with earplugs in and doesn't know that they're about to go break the damn law. Doubt it. Doubt it. Anyways, I told you guys, I think he's a racist. I don't support it. I don't support racism in any form. But I also support his right to free speech, and I support his right to be a jerk as long as he's doing it legally. And as far as I can tell, so far he has. So he doesn't deserve to get the freaking brakes beat off of him by an angry mob, which is exactly what ended up happening to him. He had a massive gash put in the back of his forehead. You guys are going to see everything that happened to Jake this weekend, and you're going to see some of the aftermath as well. I know some of you guys don't think he's a racist. I'm also going to end up showing that. This dude, as far as I'm concerned, should not be the face of the movement that he wants to be. But we're going to go ahead and play it. I'm going to show you guys exactly why it's illegal. I mean, it's common sense why it's illegal what happened to him. Nobody deserves to get the freaking brakes beat off of him the way he does. Not even Nazi-supporting racists. All right? Nobody. Either way, it happened.
Minneapolis City Hall will be burning Qurans, standing up against the Somali invasion of Minneapolis, the immediate deportation of Ilhan Omar, and the arrest of the scammer Tim Walz. Come join us 1 p.m. here, Minneapolis.
And there you see him just getting the freaking brakes beat off of him, but that's not all how it started. The man was up on a freaking wall. He ended up getting cornered. There's so many videos of this out in existence. Like I don't even, we'll watch this one where he's just getting the crap beat out of him, but he started off here. He eventually ended up getting cornered up on this wall before getting drugged down into the middle of this massive crowd. And I like this video because it shows the amount of freaking people that are actually out there. And you can see the signs of the organized signs, ICE out now, things like that are over there. You see this guy with his freaking gas mask on and another one that's up there. Let it run. Let it run. Take a look at that. Now, interesting part is it looks like you actually had people up over here on the wall that were defending him. Some of the protesters that showed up realized he was about to get the freaking crap kicked out of him, and they actually started defending him. The funny part about it, or I guess the ironic part about it, is you had blacks and Muslims, in some cases both, that were defending Jake while he was out there. He eventually ends up getting ripped off the wall, all right, into the position which I ended up showing you guys here. He ends up getting ripped down, ripped off, and drugged through the crowd, where he's then beaten as people, those same people are trying to protect him and get him out of there before he gets shoved in the car. That's one video of him getting beaten. Here's another one of him just getting drugged through the crowd, and beaten and crap thrown on him. Oh, wait, is this the one of him? This might be, I might be a little mistaken. This might be the one of him going back to his hotel. I don't want to get too far ahead. Yeah, that's the one of him going back to the hotel. So I want to get this other one up in the front here. Here's another one of him just running down the street, getting thumped on. I'm going to save that one for you guys as well. Where did it go? There's a really good one that I wanted to show you guys. Here it is. Here it is.
Jake, you thought it was a good idea, didn't you? All that
shit talking. And by the way, I'm pretty sure this guy with like the American flag shirt that you're going to end up seeing in this video also ended up, even though he was on the protester side because he was helping Jake out, the protesters ended up beating the brakes off him too. Now, at one point in time, Jake did end up getting shoved in a car with some transgenders. And then after that car got discovered, they actually chased it, like these riders chased the car down. And I actually think that this occurred, if I was looking at timeline wise, you guys see that red stripe on the sidewalk or on the street right there? You saw that in the previous video. And I think that was Jake running back to his hotel. Reportedly, some people just ran up, threw Jake inside of this vehicle, tried to get him the hell out of there. And then they ended up finding Jake, and this is what ensued. And I've got two different angles of this attack.
Is that him? Is that him? Yes! Open the door! Oh my God. Drive. Oh my God. Drive. Just drive. Stop! Wait, let them go! Let them go! Hey, pull over. Pull over. Hey, leave it. Get out of here. Leave it up. Get out of here. No. Y'all just let him leave. That's not working. Hey! Sir! We don't know him. Stop. Hey, let him out.
We got his. So that's angle number one, which didn't look as bad as it really, really was. Angle two shows him just getting boot stomped. I mean, absolutely boot stomped from the other side of that car. This is Jake running for his life down the street. Yep, that's his butt crack that you can see there on the bottom of the screen.
Let him go. Hey, go. Let me go. Just go. Just go. Let him go, y'all. Let him go.
Now, there in that video, you can see him getting ushered in by, like I said, a black guy that was taking care of him to that particular hotel, the Indigo Hotel where he was staying. They ended up getting him inside of there, and this video right here shows a pretty dang good look on his face. If you guys hadn't seen this video before, this is the look of a man that is 1,000% scared for his life. And I want to point this out before I start playing some of these next video clips. You got a black man right there taking care of him. That guy clearly tried to get that door shut after Jake entered the hotel with other people trying to pull on it. Watch. Pretty freaking wild, if you ask me. AP Payne came in giving out 10 Speak the Truth memberships. Dylan McClung says, was this the exact same police chief that stated there were unlawful assemblies? Yeah, it's the same idiot. The Cowboy, 9284, coming in gifting out a Speak the Truth membership. Adam DLC says, isn't this what you call FAFO? Yeah. Yeah, it is. And, you know, it's funny because a bunch of people on the right love to use that term FAFO and love to throw it out there all the time. It's quite literally what this man did, in my opinion. The Cowboy says, finally have a day off to see a live show with Matt. Thank you for what you do, brother. I appreciate all that you do. Keep it up, and God bless. Thank you very much. You know, and I don't know how to say this. You know, there's people that are out there screaming, well, you know, Jake did all of these amazing things. Why are you putting Jake down? And I'm not putting Jake down. Like I said, Jake has a right to be a jerk. I believe he's a racist. And that's just kind of that. And I really would hate to see the right think that it's a good idea to get behind a guy who drops N-bombs, gives frickin' Nazi salutes, and it calls people monkeys, become the face of the right movement. right? It is horrible what happened to him. It shouldn't have happened to him. It is 1000% assault, terrorism, etc. Shouldn't have happened to him. But at the same time, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like he's a good human being. That's ridiculous. Two things can be true at the exact same time. And if I don't tell you guys about it and you go out and you start supporting a guy that definitely appears to support Nazis and likes to drop N-bombs and call people monkeys, well, yeah, you're going to look like an absolute idiot. And the irony is that this guy not only got saved by a black guy here, there is... I don't even know how to say this. I'll play it for you in a sec. Video of a Muslim guy talking about, no, I got to go save his freaking butt. I'm going to play that for you in a sec. Dylan McClung says, same rules apply to Jake as they do the left. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Bingo, bango, bongo. And here's Jake with, I don't even know who, but listen, watch. You see it again? Like, do I have to show that again? Like, I mean, that's one start. That's one way to start it. And then there's this statement, which if you guys don't think that is pretty damning within itself, I don't think I have to play this more than once, nor will I play it more than once. But just go ahead and give this clip a listen.
Back, AIPAC, go back. That's the AIPAC building right there. White Christian men are not going to sit around while you turn our children into a bunch of nigger lovers.
I'll just pause it right there. What absolutely ticks me off about this, and my rage is justified, is this man is running around calling himself a Christian. I'm sorry, you're not. That is not Christian. Your statements are not Christian. I would be honestly surprised if you actually went to a church or were a member at any church whatsoever. Absolutely shocked if you did. And by the way, with the picture of him kissing the Western Wall, we're not even sure if he's Jewish or Christian. And I don't think his family, I don't even think it's fair to say that he's a Jewish incel or something like that being planted over in the United States, because there's not a snowball's chance in hell his freaking Jewish family wants anything to do with this guy. Nothing. The British perspective says there are people who talk freedom of speech advocates. Then there are people who talk whose only intention is to design to cause disruption and anarchy. Bingo. Bingo. So if that is who you want to support, go ahead. But let's talk about the absolute irony of all of the people that saved that man's life.
To go to war with their neighbors, I would not support that. Doesn't mean that I don't love them fundamentally and intrinsically. All of that. I do not want that to happen. Do you support what Jake was saying? No, absolutely not. I'm completely against what he's saying. So why were you? I'm a Muslim. I don't. Because we have to protect each other. We should get to this point, guys. I got to go and help him out. I have to go to war with.
There is, I don't know, exhibit number 1. Exhibit number 2, that guy that ended up holding the freaking door shut for him, ended up holding the door shut for him to try to, and was like protecting him on the streets as people were beating the freaking crap out of him. And you can see the same white crap that's thrown on Jake is covering this guy too. So he was there taking it for a while, whoever that man is. He honestly deserves, like, you know who deserves a GoFundMe that's not going to get one? That black man right there standing next to Jake. That black man deserves a freaking GoFundMe, whoever he is. That man, whoever he is, that took care of Jake's dumb butt, deserves something. But they'll never promote him. They'll never hold him out. I still think Jake's a pile of garbage, but that man's actions, those are good, righteous, and just actions. Protecting somebody that you even disagree with in that case. That was exhibit 2. There's exhibit 3 for you. This is floating around now. I don't know if it's true or not. I don't know if he would be dumb enough to sit there with his body armor on, which, by the way, you notice people are saying he got stabbed in the chest, and you take a look at his body armor right there. There's no stab wound right in the middle of the front of that. Like, it's just not there. I don't know if this is AI generated or not. I haven't looked hard enough into it. No clue. But with the Muslim population over inside Minneapolis, Minnesota, I mean, I could absolutely see reason to believe that this is not AI generated. So there you've got several other ones that are on there. I mean, it's absolutely nuts to me that Jake's running his mouth. By the way, the people that drove him away from the scene, transgender.
Okay, TikTok. We're gonna make. Oh, wait, can you turn the heat down really fast?
And I will also tell you that whatever this lady's guy is about to say, I actually haven't had the chance to listen to this, so you're going to get my blind react to this as well as we go. You guys are saying it's AI and it's fake. Okay, got it. Well, the black guy still protected him and the tranny still drove his butt away to safety. So there's that. And the Muslim guy still got off his butt to go help him out too.
Okay, hopefully this works and it like doesn't cut up again. So, my name is Day. This is my friend Aaliyah. This feels so weird to do this
I feel
really
like
fast.
at last that would be ugly.
Yeah, so let me give y'all the rundown on what just happened to us in case we do go like viral or whatever the case is. We were driving, we're on our way to Tom's Watch Bar, right? We want to have some cocktails, little girl day, whatever. We see this crowd of protesters outside of a hotel, and obviously we are anti-ICE. Like what the fuck is all this shit that's going on is such bullshit. I'm low-key scared for our country, and it sucks that it's starting in Minnesota, but like I do not support that. They're bullying. They are bad people. They're ripping apart families. Don't fuck with it. This guy, still don't even know his full name. Jake is all I know. And apparently
he's a horrible freaking person.
The horrible people that apparently I'm sure a lot of you guys do know about, but I had never heard of him. We see him run up to our car and he's like, can I please get in? Can I please get in? Like, they hurt me so bad, da 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 da. That's all the context we have. So in our heads, it's like, oh my God, like, was he just attacked by ICE? Like,
we thought ICE was after him, so we're like, okay, whatever, like, hop in the freaking car real quick. And then all of a sudden, there's a whole bunch of people coming here and storming us, and like,
I don't even think that's true, that they think ICE was after him. I mean, maybe it is, but I mean, it certainly didn't appear that way. I don't know if you guys can tell. Yeah, the sounds and the lip aren't in sync. It's horrible video. So, you know, transgender people need to do a little bit better. Other people were beaten that exact same day over in, I guess, the subway system, as they were also trying to get away. Here's a video of that. Jake's not the only one that got his butt kicked that day. Excuse me, parking garage. You guys like see the side of this dude's head and like the amount of blood that's coming out of there. Now the ear itself, there you go, is not the cause of the blood. That was like my first thought on it as well. If you end up looking at that picture, like that still image right there, the side of his head just has a huge gash above his ear, and all of that is just blood running down the side of his head. They allegedly ended up taking his flag. I guess he had a flagpole at some point and beating him over the head with it. That you can see people beating him with a pole earlier in the video. These people have gone from being quasi-civilized to extremely, extremely violent. Somebody says it's one of Jake's bodyguards. You know, I saw a post by, I think it was, I want to say it's the leader of the Proud Boys, that said that there's reports, like Jake ended up stating that the Proud Boys are coming out to support him. And he said, no, the Proud Boys are not officially going to be doing, like the Proud Boys aren't associated with him in any capacity, but that he had thought of going out and supporting him anyways. This is one of those things, in my opinion, that absolutely, when you take a look at what's going on, the city's out of control. I believe I have a video of Cam Higbee coming up here in just a sec where the cops literally told Cam after they were assaulted that they shouldn't be there and that they need to leave, which is absolutely absurd for them to be assaulted and get told that they need to leave. Let's finish this video out and we'll get to it. I see some of the comments. I want to say it was Deanna Rodriguez-U8R said, well, if you don't like it, just get the F out of Minneapolis. If you don't like the laws, get the hell out of the country. How about that? How about that, Deanna, or whatever the hell your name is, Miss Rodriguez? If you don't like the laws in the United States of America, get the hell out of it. We don't want you here. There's peaceful ways to change the laws in this country that are laid out in our Constitution. Doing the crap that these people are doing is not that peaceful way. Interrupting a church service is not the peaceful way. It's actually illegal. Beating people over the head and all of that other stuff, that's not legal. There is legal means to do it. This is not activism. This is terrorism. When you use violence and intimidation, coercion, and control in order to push a political or ideological agenda, that's terrorism. Threatening violence to people with different political views than you so that yours advance is literally terrorism. So you can take your terrorist butt, Deanna, and you can go to wherever the hell you came from if you're even a legal American citizen. Throwing that one out there. You don't have a right to walk around and assault people because you don't like the words that are coming out of their mouths. It's just not how it works.
Alina, your reaction to what the AG has said, and that is, we're going to investigate this. Is that the protesters or is that the mayor and governor for inciting?
That's everybody. That's everybody. The FACE Act is a longstanding federal statute that prohibits force, threats, obstruction, any kind of interference with a religious place of worship. And it carries criminal penalties and violations. And what the Attorney General is saying is the truth. She will come down hard. The Department of Justice will come down hard. Our Civil Rights Division will come down hard on anybody who tries to impede or intimidate somebody in a place of worship, or a police officer or an ICE officer. It's just not going to happen in this administration, and Pam is making that very clear.
So the mayor comes out and says they're just speaking up peacefully. They're standing up for their neighbors, and this is just it's not just about resisting Trump. This is about loving and caring for the people that call the city home. Do you feel better about it now?
Okay. Yeah, so we have a mayor who's a Somali sympathizer who we've seen dancing around on stage with their flag instead of an American flag. And I'm supposed to sit here, exactly, and I'm supposed to sit here and believe that that is not creating more hostility, where we have I just spoke with Brian, 200 agents the other night that are leaving their families, going there to keep the peace, to get criminals off the streets, to get people that don't belong here out so that we are a safer country. And they don't even know what they're standing for. And let me also tell you something. The Department of Justice will look into whomever is funding.
Remember how I told you they beat the guy that was taking care of Jake? There it is. There it is.
This. It's no different than a RICO action. If you are funding mass protests, if you are having protests that are not righteous protests, there are First Amendment rights that we respect, but that are putting people in risk, not allowing people to go to church, this Department of Justice will come down on you.
Thank God for that. You don't get to do illegal crap like that and get away with it. You just don't. Organizing it, inciting it. Doesn't matter if you're an elected official. It doesn't matter who you are. You're inciting violence. Tom Bone says, I'm so glad I live in free Florida. Governor DeSantis went on Fox News and said that we aren't going to put up with that crap in our state. DeSantis is the freaking man. DeSantis said and passed a law that says you can run over people in the middle of the street. That's amazing. People that are blocking your car, sitting you there. You're in fear for your life. Step on the freaking gas. Perfectly legal in freaking Florida. Praise God. You don't get to sit there and terrorize people. You don't. You absolutely don't get to do crap like this. This is Nick Sorter getting his camera stolen. And I'm going to show you a couple connections with this lady when I'm done.
Hey! What did she just do? She fucking...
Oh, shit. Okay, it's okay.
She took next camera. She just stole next camera. Let's get her.
No, get in the camera!
Just tell her to give him the camera back.
Get in the camera!
What happened, Nick?
They just stole my camera.
Right out of your hand while you're in the car?
That's what the fuck you wanted, right? That's the fuck you wanted, right? That's what you did. Man, listen, motherfucker. Get the fuck up out of here.
My daughter.
You fucking coward. Motherfucker, you a coward, bitch.
You have to leave.
You the mouthpiece for fucking coward. You motherfucker. Get the fuck up out of here. $1,000 bitch. You fucking coward. You a fucking coward, motherfucker. Nobody motherfucker, you trying to incite that shit. Nobody stepped in. Get the fuck up out of here, bro. $1,000 worth of equipment. Fuck you, bitch. Did you call 911? Did anybody call 911?
You're in this neighborhood.
Have Kevin do it.
You fucking Nazis.
We got it all on video. We're not Nazis.
Yeah, you fucking Nazis.
We're not Nazis and we're not racist. I condemn Hitler completely.
You a fucking racist, bitch.
I'm not racist. I condemn all racism.
God, you a fucking Nazi.
I condemn all racism.
Why are you here?
We were driving through and we got followed.
Why are you there, woman? Why are you there? Why is Nick having his camera stolen? And by the way, this lady's driving down a sidewalk. It looks like his glove or something got caught up in the door. And it just drags him down the street. Luckily, he ends up getting off. Living. J.R. Huff says, Jake was guarded by a black man, driven away by trans, and if true, cared for by a Muslim. God is speaking to him. Will he hear it? I hope he does, to be honest. J. Blake 62 says, unfortunately, Matt, based on the tens of thousands of people who are doing this, they are getting away with it. Should have been stopped weeks ago. I said last week to go ahead and like the Insurrection Act needs to happen. People are like, well, how's it going to get any better? The freaking Insurrection Act. That's how you make it better. People that are walking up, shoving their fingers in your face and screaming at you, that's, to me, anyways, that's violent. When you're an inch away from my face, waving your hand in it, you're going to get punched. Acting all aggressive.
Recording everybody in this neighborhood? Well, because we're being followed. Nobody's following you. What do you mean? There's a convoy of 4 cars behind us, and we've got 6 people surrounding us. Driving around. No, we don't want to leave. We're being followed and intimidated. I don't want to leave when that's happening. Get the hell out of here. Why do we have to get out of here? It's in your place. No, why is it not our place? This is America.
Hey!
There's his camera getting stolen. They're just sitting there being harassed. They have their cameras out, and then they go over and end up like ripping them up out of their hands. FBI Rapid Response says they're on it. They're going to take a look into it. They're following that situation, which is great. Mario Nawfal, his channel over on X, ended up putting out that they were able to identify the owner of the vehicle via the plate, I think it was, and that said that this is the lady that is the owner of the vehicle. They said that she had been identified. And then I saw this picture right here with this. Both of them giving the finger. And a lot of people are looking at this going, hey, that's amazing, everything else. Now, I'll caution you that this alone, all right, holding up your one finger alone, does not make you a violent extremist. It's supposed to signify the one true God that they believe in. That's not my belief, by the way. I'm a Christian. They say that this signifies like the one true God when they're doing that. But you know how that actually blew up? How it became mainstream? ISIS. And I don't know if you guys remember last year, the people that were over in Oklahoma, the 2 ISIS guys that ended up getting arrested by the Bureau, that were buying 2 AKs and hundreds of rounds of ammunition and planning on going and doing a mass shooting. One of the guys was identified as being sympathetic member of ISIS because of that symbol right there. And the same person, allegedly, have to use allegedly, that Mario Nawfal put out on his channel, Her and whoever that guy is are both doing the exact same thing. So, I'm not stating that they are violent extremists, but to me, there was an act of violence that just took place, stealing Nick's camera and dragging him down the frickin' street, hauling butt down the frickin' sidewalk. I believe in law enforcement, that's what we call a clue. Just throwing that out there. And you have nobody inside of that entire state, as far as like, that's on the law side of the house, it's actually doing a dang thing about this. So just to recap the madness that we went over for the weekend, and there's so much more that goes into it. You had a church get desecrated. You had multiple journalists get assaulted. You had, let's see here, you had Jake Lang get his butt kicked. He's not a journalist. I saw people calling him a journalist. He doesn't journalize anything. He's just like, I don't know, a right-wing extremist, I guess you could call. It's freaking sad. And yeah, the cops are not putting up with it. And I thought I had Cam's video. I'm going to go get it because I want to show you guys the response that the cops gave Cam when he put out, when they ended up reporting the crap to the cops. What they told him was to leave town. They told him to get out.
Looking for the car, but you guys got to do us a favor and stay out of this area. All right, we don't want anything else escalating to this point again. We got a lot of reports.
Well, we just don't. I mean, I guess what I don't understand is like versus them just not liking our.
Now I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna play that one more time for you because I know it's faint in the background. Volume's maxed out. I turn it up anymore, it's gonna blow it out. They didn't tell him, hey, there's violence in the area. There's activists around here. You should stay out of this area. They told him you should stay out of the city.
Looking for the car, but you guys got to do us a favor and stay out of this area. All right, we don't want anything else escalating to this point again. We got a lot of reports.
Well, we just don't. I mean, I guess what I don't understand is like versus them just not liking our.
I understand
we get attacked and assaulted. By the way, they tried to steal my camera earlier, and we're the ones told to leave. Like,
I'm not justifying what they did, but we're trying to keep the peace at the end of the day. And the bottom line is, you guys obviously aren't from the area.
But it's like if I'm a woman and I get raped for wearing tight jeans, and it's like, well, you shouldn't have been there. It's
okay,
like,
but that's not what we're saying.
Well, we're being told to leave when we're the ones who got attacked. I mean, it's like,
well, looking for the car.
That's exactly what he did. You guys got to do us a favor and stay out of the city. Minneapolis police. You guys got to do us a favor and stay out of the city. And before the words could even come out of my mouth, Cam ends up stating it. We're the ones that got attacked. That's like telling a woman that gets raped for wearing tight jeans that it's her fault and to stay away from bars or to stay away from a fraternity or whatever it is that ends up happening. That's Minneapolis. And that police chief that I played earlier, along with the attorney general and everybody else from over there, as far as I'm concerned, they're all complicit in this garbage. And I really hope, sincerely hope, that they all get brought up on charges. I really do. Because what's taking place over there, extremely unprofessional. Where was a single cop that entire time that Jake was getting assaulted and chased down the street? That wasn't a 2-minute incident that ended up taking place. That wasn't just a little tiny incident. And they had advanced warning of what was going on. Why weren't the police present? Why weren't the police present? Why weren't they there? Are they that incompetent that they didn't know Jake was going there to do all of that crap? Why were they nowhere near? It's almost like they knew it was happening and just allowed it to happen. That within itself is a huge problem. So when I say Insurrection Act, I grossly mean it. I mean it in the way that I want them there yesterday. And I don't want just a couple freaking 1,000 paratroopers. Hell with that. I want a freaking brigade from the 82nd Airborne down there. That's what I want. Racer says the Insurrection Act absolutely applies and needs to be enforced. The United States was born on law and order, and that has gone out the window in the sanctuary states. This is a sad time in our history. It is. And imagine what would have happened if Kamala Harris got elected. Because this crap that's festering over in Minnesota would have continued to fester for at least 4 more years. And eventually somebody would have gotten to office that says, we're not doing with it. We're going to deal with this now. And it would be 10 times worse than it is right now. Viper. So that solidifies it. They are officially a no-go zone in the U.S. Wonderful. And we still are waiting for troops. Why? Exactly. We have hurricanes that hit the United States of America, and we deploy U.S. troops on active duty to go help them out. We have disasters. We have all of this stuff that happens. But when we have massive disregard for law and order, federal law, the supremacy clause comes into play. Your sanctuary city is in direct violation of federal law. And federal officers have the absolute authority to be in there and do what they do, just like Nick and Jake and Cam and everybody else has a right to be out there filming. But even more so, they are mandated to do their job. The immigration laws that they are enforcing are passed by our legislators who are elected. They are signed into law by the President of the United States, and those laws have been interpreted time and time again by the courts of the United States of America. The legislative branch makes the laws, the executive branch enforces laws, and the courts interpret the law. And the fact that these laws are not being properly enforced and haven't been properly enforced for a very long time is troubling. But when you have mayors, police chiefs, AGs, journalists that, in my opinion, are all violating it, yeah, maybe they ought to go. Maybe they just ought to go. News junkie, shadow banned, ha ha ha. Channel, I'm going to report. Well, yeah, report whoever you want, man. Have at it. Thank you, El Deuterino. Appreciate you guys. I told you guys that ICE isn't playing games with these folks anymore. They're going around. They're arresting them. They will take them into custody. It is going to happen, and it is happening. They are not playing games. It's going down. What they are doing, in my opinion, is the correct answer. There's this video where they gave a warning to this lady. This one.
Turn on the lights. 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 Hey, wait. Turn on the lights. You're impeding with the federal investigation. We have your own camera. We actually have news reporters with this vehicle. Your case will be referred over to Homeland Security investigation for prosecution. You will be arrested. This is your last and final warning. Hold on a second, guys. Give me your license, please. I will once again tell you, you have places in danger. Put your vehicle in parking.
She gets all butthurt. She's like, oh, I got kids. Please don't arrest me.
And I am the Deputy Field Office Director here, ma'am. Stand by. We're running the name. We're going to refer this case over for enforcement action.
Please.
Is that it?
Please. I'm just a mom. Please. I'm just
Kylie?
a mom. Yes, please. I'm just
You turn around and get out of here.
I'm getting out.
Tommy, Jake's not a patriot. I hate to inform you of that. Jake's not a patriot. What did Jake do besides get his butt kicked? Were you unaware of how ridiculous Minneapolis was before he showed up? Were you? Did you not know how extreme it was before he went there? Did he give you any new information, or did you just watch him cry like a little sissy girl and get protected by the same people that he shoots down on a daily basis. That's not a patriot. That's a retard. Hate to tell you, bud. Petty Eddie says, I have to wonder if those cops would have told Don Lemon the same thing they told Cam and Nick. No, I don't think they would have, friend. I really don't. I don't think they would have. Dylan says, what up, Matt? I've been quiet lately, but still here supporting the channel. Well, I appreciate you, man. It's always good to have you guys in the background that are always supporting the channel. Like I said, though, these cops are not playing games. They are going around. They are grabbing people up, and they're not going to be doing it anymore. Like, they're just not going to put up with this garbage anymore. I'm pissed off, and I think you guys should be too. And I think you guys should be demanding that some things be done, because when you have organized resistance that is very clearly violating the law, those organizers and everybody else ends up being brought down. And I'm tired of people hiding behind their First Amendment, trying to pretend like what they're doing is lawful activity. As much as I hate Jake, on a personal level, he's not breaking the law. These idiots are. These idiots are organizing. These idiots are actually violating other people's rights. They all should be arrested. Ladies and gentlemen, peace, love, happiness, God bless. I'll see you this evening. I'm out of here.
What do you think of this? I mean, this is unacceptable. It's shameful. It's shameful to interrupt a public gathering of Christians in worship.
But there were folks who will say,
I have to take care of my flock.
Okay, but listen, we live there's a constitution in the First Amendment to freedom of speech and freedom to assemble and protest.
We're here to worship. We're here to worship Jesus, because that's the hope of these cities. That's the hope of the world, is Jesus Christ.
I want to be very respectful. Please don't push me, though.
We're here to worship Jesus. Yes. That's why we're here. Yes. Okay, that's why we're here. Okay. That's what we're about.
Don't you think Jesus would be understanding
we're about
and love these folks?
We're about spreading the love of Jesus.
But did you try to talk to them as a Christian?
No one is willing to talk.
Okay,
I have to take care of my church and my family, so I asked that you actually would also leave this building.
You don't want us to.